All right, guys, so we're back with another video today. This one's gonna be a little bit different, okay? You can see I've got absolutely nothing on the whiteboard besides the mindful athlete. And the reason is I've got my notes right here, and there's about 8 notes that I wanna go over with you guys. This book is so powerful, such a powerful book that I have too many notes. I can't even fit it on the whiteboard. So usually what I do is I go through my notes with a book like this. I go through my notes and then I decide from there which 3 are the top ones. And today I was going through this, I was like, I literally cannot pick. So we're just gonna go through all of them, okay? So let's start with number 1. I'm reading them straight off the computer right here. If you wanna be average, then be comfortable. If you wanna strive for excellence, then you must be living out of your comfort zone consistently, okay? So let's think about this one. If you wanna be average, right? You wanna have like an average life and just be average in every which way possible, then be comfortable. Just sit on the couch, watch TV all day long, 8 to 10 hours a day. Never do anything that is uncomfortable or expands your comfort zone. Just kind of float around life. And for a lot of people, this is okay. And if this is something that you're fine with, then continue to do that, right? If you're okay or you're content with living an average life. But if you want to strive for excellence, right? If you want more out of life, if you want to be the best of the best that you're capable of being, you have to, right? If you want to reach your full potential, you absolutely have to be living outside of your comfort zone. You need to expand that comfort zone and do things that scare you. Do things that help you grow, right? Grow your mind, grow your body, grow everything, right? Because let's say, for example, if you want excellence in your body, right? You want excellence in your body. You want to be shredded. You're going to be being very uncomfortable lifting weights that are very heavy, right? Or if you want to be excellent in your field, whatever it is, maybe you play poker, if you do something else, whatever it is, you need to be studying your craft relentlessly to the point where it's extremely uncomfortable. Okay, and that's what it takes to be excellent, to be great at something. You really have to push past that. You have to really blast past that comfort zone, I gotta say. Okay, so we'll leave that one at that. I'm gonna try to keep it short on each note because there's a lot of them. Number 2, how you see yourself and the things you believe about yourself end up becoming who you are, right? How you see yourself, the things that you believe about yourself, like at your core, like in your identity, like what is it that you believe about yourself, right? And whatever it is, whether it be good or bad, this goes to the next point. I'm not gonna skip ahead yet. But whatever you believe about yourself, let's say you strongly believe that you're just you're like a cigarette smoker. Like that's just who you are. It's at an identity level, you're a smoker. People ask you, like, you're like, I'm a smoker. Not that I smoke cigarettes, I'm a smoker. See, that's gonna be way harder for you to cut out cigarettes if you identify with that. Because in your mind, you're like, this is who I am. I'm a smoker. You have to like cut out that identity. You have to say, I'm a non-smoker. I'm not a smoker. That's not who I am. You have to make that decision, right? That's not who I am. And that's where it starts. Obviously, I'm not trying to oversimplify, right? And say like, this is the way you cut out cigarettes is you just change your identity and that's that. And it's gonna, you know, obviously there's more to it. There's nicotine and this and that. I'm just using it as a very vague example, right? It starts from that belief where you're like, I'm not a smoker anymore, right? And this goes for anything you believe about yourself, right? If you believe that you're an attractive person, you're probably gonna have attractive qualities, right? Because you come off with more confidence if that belief is there, right? If you just assume that you're a valuable human being, then you're just gonna come off that way. If you assume you're unattractive, now the opposite of the spectrum, if you assume that you're unattractive or you assume that you don't have value to offer, then you're gonna come off that way as well, right? We're gonna get deeper into this. And some of you guys might be confused, like, wait, just from the belief? Yes, just from the belief. It's crazy. It's crazy how this works. Next one, I want you to think about this. Think deeper about it as we go through this video. If you believe you can or cannot, you are right. Okay, if you believe you can or cannot, you are right. So what does this mean? If you believe you can't do something, right? Let's say, for example, you believe that you can't go to the gym for 1 hour a day. You have this belief, like, I can't do that. That's too much for me. That will guarantee that you will not go to the gym 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day, whatever it is. It will guarantee it, okay? 100% guaranteed. 100% guaranteed, right? Let's say you believe something else. You believe, let's say you believe that you're unattractive, like we talked about before. Let's say you have a belief that you're unattractive. You're an unattractive person. All right, guy or girl, doesn't matter. You're an unattractive person. You have this belief. You're never gonna put yourself out there to meet somebody because you believe that you're unattractive. That's the problem, is our beliefs, right? They drive our decisions. If you believe you're an unattractive person, you're not even gonna talk to somebody. You're never even gonna get to know somebody, right? That's the problem. So if you have these negative underlying beliefs, everyone has to do an audit on themselves. You have to do an audit on yourself. Is there anything negative that you believe about yourself that needs to be pulled out? That's not true. It needs to be pulled out of your system, right? It needs to be pulled out of your system. Because if you don't pull it out of your system, then it's just gonna be festering there. It's gonna be sitting there, and it's gonna be driving the decisions in your life, and without you even realizing it, this is gonna be all happening on a subconscious level, right? It's all gonna be happening in a subconscious level. Let's say, for example, you're a person that believes that you deserve the world. Like, you have so much value, you deserve the world, everything. Think about how you're gonna carry yourself with those kind of beliefs. That you're like, I deserve the world. I'm the king of my world, or I'm the queen of my world, whatever it is. You deserve everything. You carry yourself in a different kind of way, except for, as compared to somebody, for example, that has maybe lower self-esteem, that they think that they don't deserve anything, right? The self-esteem is lacking, and they're just like, they feel like they're not deserving of anything. That's gonna come off too. That's gonna come out too, and it's gonna manifest in ways that you don't want it to manifest in, right? It's just not gonna be good. Let's get straight to this next one, which is, about what we've been talking about already. Your beliefs drive your actions, and your values drive your decisions, okay? Your beliefs drive your actions, and your values drive your decisions. So your beliefs, whatever your belief is, if I believe I can walk down these stairs, then I'm gonna walk down these stairs, right? This is a really ridiculous example, but just on a basic level. If I believe there's stairs here, if I believe I can walk down these stairs, then I'll walk down the stairs. If I believe I cannot walk down these stairs, I will not attempt it. I won't attempt it if I actually had that belief. Obviously, that's a stupid belief to have. You're not gonna have a belief that you can't walk down a flight of stairs, but there's a lot of different beliefs that we all have deep down in our subconscious mind that is holding us back without us even realizing it, right? You might be watching this video, let's say from a financial standpoint. Let's say you believe that you can't make 6 figures in a year. Let's just use that as an example. Let's say you have this belief like, I can't make 6 figures in a year, or I can't make 7 figures in a year. I just can't do it. It's impossible, I can't do it. That guarantees that you will not take the action it takes to get to that point. It guarantees it. It absolutely guarantees it. You have to switch that belief. It is possible, right? Because once you believe that it is possible, something crazy happens. Something really crazy happens. When you believe that it's possible, I'm talking about really strongly believe that it's possible. You convince yourself. I don't care if it's a delusion. You convince yourself that it's possible. What happens is, they call this the superconscious mind. your mind starts to work for you. It starts to figure out, how am I gonna get there? It starts to strategize, even without, like, this is happening in the back of your mind, without even like you thinking about it. You begin to strategize, like, wait a second, this is possible for me. All I have to do is do this, 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 and that. It might take years, it might take months, it might take years, it might take way longer than I want it to take, but this is possible. And then you start doing the steps, right? But if you believe that it's not possible, you're not doing anything. You're gonna be on the couch watching TV. You're not gonna do anything, I promise you. If you believe it's not possible, you will not do anything. And that's a big problem. If you're trying to get something done, especially, it's a major problem. All right, let's get to the next one. Okay, this is an interesting one, okay? When you push yourself too far out of your comfort zone, you will experience de-stress. We're gonna talk about what de-stress means in a second. But when you get out of your comfort zone incrementally, then you experience eustress, okay? Which helps your mind and body grow and adapt, okay? So de-stress is here, eustress is here. So we're gonna talk about each one. So if you do something that's extremely uncomfortable for you, like I'm talking about, let's say for example, you have like a fear of snakes, right? Let's just say you have like this random fear of snakes, right? It's like slithering, slimy snakes. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna get over this fear. I'm just gonna go, wrap a snake around my neck and have it slither around me and like around my face. You're gonna experience de-stress. De-stress is like your body just shutting, like you're freaking out. This is way too much. You don't wanna go that far, okay? Eustress is a little bit outside of your comfort zone. It's a little bit uncomfortable. You're growing a little bit, right? It's like, for example, eustress, you would be watching, like, let's say, like doing something small, maybe watching a video of a snake that you can't stand, or maybe looking at a snake from a distance. Maybe you're 10 feet away, the snake is over there. But it's not too much to like freak you out and drive you crazy. It's just enough to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? That's where you want to be. The eustress is where the growth happens, when you're slowly doing things that are uncomfortable, but not like too high. It's like, for example, during eustress is when we grow at the gym. Let's say like eustress at the gym. Let's say you're lifting 50 pounds, right? And let's say you're doing 50-pound like curls, and you go to the gym, and now you're lifting 55 pounds. So it's like, now it's uncomfortable. You're feeling that eustress. Everything you do at the gym is slightly uncomfortable. You're feeling that eustress. Your body is growing. But let's say, for example, one day you're like, you know what? I'm gonna lift 90-pound dumbbells, 100-pound dumbbells. You take it and your arm you just blow out your bicep. It's just all done from there. That's de-stress. De-stress is when you take it too far, or you do something that's way too far out. Let's say, for example, another one. If you haven't been, let's say if you have no experience public speaking at all, and your first experience public speaking is in front of like 1,000 people, you're gonna experience de-stress. You're gonna freak out. Like you have a fear of public speaking, and you just go, the first thing is like 1,000 people and you're giving this speech. That's de-stress. You're gonna freak out. Eustress would be giving a speech in front of 3 people or 4 people, where it's like you're uncomfortable, but you're not so panicked that you're about to die. De-stress is like a very strong panicking state. And you don't want to do that. Like I said, you want to do it incrementally, slowly get out of your comfort zone, not like with a big a punch, because it's gonna be too much for your nervous system. It's gonna be just too much for you. It's just gonna be overwhelming. So you want to do it slowly, okay? Getting to the next point, like I said, this book is complete fire, so many great points. Don't compare yourself to others, okay? You hear that everywhere, but what should you compare yourself to, right? Compare yourself to your old self, and also what you know you're capable of. Like, this is something I always heard when I was younger too. Don't compare yourself to others. But then you're left to question, what do I compare myself then to, right? Because life is all comparing. Like, if somebody says you're tall, you're tall comparative to other people. You're not tall based on anything else. You're tall based comparative to everybody else. Or you're rich. Rich means you're rich compared to everyone else, right? Everything's a comparison. But if you don't want to compare yourself to other people, right? You want to compare yourself to your old self, okay? So let's say, for example, I'm 6 feet tall, okay? So I'm considered somewhat tall or somewhat average. Let's call it average. It's more average, I would say. Like tall would be like, for me, like 6'2", 6'3" probably would be tall. But let's say, for example, I'm 5'8" tall, okay? To some people, that's short. Okay, let's say I'm 5'8" tall, 5'7", 5'6", whatever you consider short. It doesn't matter. Let's say you're short. If you compare yourself to like somebody that's 6 feet tall or 6'5", it's just not gonna feel good. It's just not fun to do that. Like, why would you torture yourself in that way, right? So the only thing you can really truthfully compare yourself to is your old self. And with height and things that you cannot change that, right? So if you cannot change something, you have to learn to accept it. Okay, you have to learn to accept things that you cannot change. And by accepting it doesn't mean you're out being jealous of somebody that's taller than you or much taller than you or whatever. Like, accepting it means like, you know what? I'm short and this is the way it's gonna be, and that's that. You know what I mean? But this is not the point here. This isn't the point. This isn't the main point I'm trying to make here. That was just one example of something there. That's something that you have to accept, right? I'm talking about other things. For example, comparing your finances to somebody. Let's say, for example, you finally made it to the point where you're like, okay, now I'm making $100,000 a year. Now I'm making $250,000, $500,000, whatever it is. Now I'm making this amount of money per year. And you're like, shit, but this guy over here is making, a couple $1 million per year. And the guy that's making a couple million, he's looking, oh, this guy's making like $10 million per year. Shit, that kind of sucks. So you don't want to compare, anywhere. You want to compare, let's say for example, you're making $100,000 a year. You want to compare that to what you were making last year or what you made last month, last week, right? If you're lifting 25 pounds, right, at the gym, bicep curls, and you look over at this guy, he's jacked out of his mind, lifting like, 85 pounds, one hand bicep curls, just crushing it. You can't compare yourself to that guy, right? You need to compare yourself to how much you were lifting last week, last month, last year, like I said, right? If you're making progress within yourself, and if you're reaching your highest capabilities and your highest potential, which is gonna be different for everybody, like I said, it's gonna be different for everybody. This person's highest capabilities, maybe this guy over here is 6'5", 275 pounds, and he's just this jacked up bodybuilder guy. You can't compare yourself to that guy. You compare yourself to who you were, to how much you were lifting 2 months ago, how much money you were making 3 months ago, how much exercise you were doing, last year, how much meditating you were doing last year, not how much meditating you were doing compared to, Gandhi or things like that. Right? You only want to compare yourself to your old self. That's the key to success, and also to not being jealous of other people or being envious or feeling bad about yourself because you're like, oh, this person has a certain something and I don't. That's just the way it is. It just is what it is. Like, and careful with the comparisons. Like I said, compare yourself to your old self, okay? And make sure you're always making progress. Next one. Failures are opportunities for you to control how you respond to challenges and keep your commitment to growth. Okay, so when you fail at something, I never see anything as a failure. There's no such thing as failing. It's just learning. You're learning something. If you lost, or if you failed, or whatever you want to label it as, you're learning something. You're still growing in that process. You grow through losses. You grow through failures. And it's a test. See it as a test. See it as a legitimate test that when you fail at something, that you can still keep that commitment to growth. Like you don't get discouraged from it. That's the main thing, right? You don't get discouraged from a failure. Like you fail something and then now all of a sudden like you're really discouraged. You're like, oh, you have this beat up feeling like, oh, damn. And you sit on the couch, you lounge and you sulk and like, you don't want that, right? That's one way to deal with failure. See that's more of like a fixed mindset. Now we're getting deep in this video. That's more of like a fixed mindset way of dealing with failure. When you fail and you're just like, you just feel bad and you sulk and you're like, I'm a failure. You identify with being a failure. You're like, I'm just a failure kind of human. That's one way, not the healthy way. This is not the good way. This is the fixed mindset way of dealing with failures. Growth mindset way of dealing with failures. You fail and now you're trying to find out, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And how can I be better in the next situation that I'm thrown in that's similar to this situation, right? How can I use this as fire under my ass, as fuel, right? Fire to get better and to keep my commitment to growth, right? How can I use this? Not sulk in this and start calling myself a failure and this and that. Like, how can I make sure that I turn this failure into a success? We're going this way. This is the growth mindset way. This is the fixed mindset way. The fixed mindset is I'm a failure. I should probably just give up. I'm not good enough. This and that. That's this way. You want to be over this way. What can I learn from this situation? What are the main takeaways from this situation for me? How can I grow from this? How can I use this as fuel, right, to get better? That's the way you want to go. Last one. A lot of nuggets in this one, guys. A lot of nuggets in this video. I hope you guys are taking notes. A lot of nuggets in this one. This is an excellent book. Pick it up, The Mindful Athlete. Last one. Mindfulness is you and your subconscious becoming one. Sorry, not subconscious. Mindfulness is you and your surroundings becoming one. It's written really small. Mindfulness is you and your surroundings becoming one. Where you're no longer in your head, but instead you are fully engaged in the present moment. So I talk about this a lot in previous videos, but look at it. This is a different angle to see it as. I want you to just, whether you're sitting, you're probably sitting, standing, laying down, doesn't matter what you're doing as you're watching this video. Take a moment and just be at one with everything. Look around you. The walls, the TV, the bed, whatever's around you. Just act like it's literally a part of you. You're at one with it. It's literally one thing. You're not separate from you. This bed is not separate. That TV is not separate. The computer is not separate. The computer chair, whatever it is around you, it's not separate from you. You're literally at one with it. Like your surroundings are diffusing into you, and you're like literally everything at once. Everything is one. Just take a moment to really just be at one with everything. Just at one. Right? Where you're not thinking that's a separate entity. It's literally just one huge thing. Right? And then you basically get into the present moment when you do that. That's the mindful athlete. The mindful athlete is at one with everything. He's never thinking about things in his head and going inside of his mind. He's just literally at one and at peace and mindful with everything. And that allows the mindful athlete to perform at the highest level possible. Okay? So that's it for this video. This is a bit of a long one here, but if you made it this far, like the video, comment something, comment the biggest takeaway, something that really resonated with you. Comment that down below, okay? And then subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.